Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So we're back again with Return of the Primarchs, and today we're going to be looking at a chap which, well, this is going to go into like complete fan theory crazy because it's Ferrus Manus. We're going to be discussing Ferrus Manus, the first Primarch killed. He was beheaded by his brother Fulgrim. So let's just jump in and let's just go crazy on how this headless Primarch can return in the 8th edition storyline. So Ferrus Manus was the Primarch of the Iron Hands Legion. They were the 10th Legion during the Great Crusade and the Horus Heresy. Now the Legion kind of stands apart, and so does Ferrus in a way, because physically Ferrus has two silver arms. Now the legend is that well, some of the fan theories and rumours is that on his world he actually drowned a Necron a crypt monster or something like that, and like the metal of it actually soaked up onto his arms, and that's why, you know, he's basically got these metal arms. Iron Hands is basically just, you know, Iron Hands of Ferrus Manus, and Ferrus Manus, I think if you could translate that, means Iron Hand in Italian, if I'm not mistaken as well. So a bit of a pun going on there with the writers. The Iron Hands try to resemble this in some kind of way, like they basically chopped off their arms and their legs and all that kind of stuff and replace it with robotics and stuff like that. Their motto is flesh is weak. That is how they go around things. They see flesh as weak, so they try to idolize what Ferrus is and trying to improve themselves. Ferrus actually doesn't like this, but yeah, he just lets them get on with it. But yeah, he's not too keen on them trusting all the metal gadgets over their human ways. Now, Ferrus was the first Primarch to officially die. You can probably argue that maybe one of the two missing Primarchs are dead, but again, that's going into territory which I may touch on in this series, but let's just keep those chaps out of it for now. Now, what happened is that Ferrus and Fulgrim had a duel on Istvan with the massacre where, you know, all the legions got betrayed and everything like that. Him and Fulgrim had a little duel. I said had a little duel. There was a massive duel. The Iron Hands basically got wiped out at Istvan, and Ferrus beheaded. Fulgrim beheaded Ferrus, and then Fulgrim took Ferrus's head back to Horus and was like, "Here we go. Look, here's a prize. I killed him and stuff like that." I got to add that Fulgrim was basically devastated by this, and like the demon fully took over. But then he apparently took back his body. Go and watch my Fulgrim video. I go through that. It's kind of weird. So that was it. That was basically it. Like all the other parts of Ferrus was basically like torn apart by all the other traitor legions, like taking prizes. I don't know, like maybe some guy's got like Ferrus's toe around his neck or something. Like, I've got Ferrus's toe. I'm the best in this legion. I don't really know what happened to most of it. There was a little bit of a story where the Iron Hands, I think they managed to get one of his arms back, and they basically worshipped this Ferrus kind of model, and like it was really weird. I don't really want to spoil it, but Vulcan was like, "That's not Ferrus," and he basically smashed it with his hammer. Is the short story of it. But yeah, that was really weird. So when coming to speak about Ferrus and returning for this year, it's very, very hard. Like, this is why I probably left him and Conrad Curse so last, because I'm thinking, really, how can you bring people back with no heads? It's kind of different with Horus, because Horus technically did already return because he was cloned, but then again, we had that whole debate if that's really Horus or not. You know, that was the subject of that video. Technically, you probably could clone some of Ferrus's DNA, if anyone had Ferrus's DNA, and bring him back to life that way. But I always find cloning in 40k a really cheap option and a way to bring someone back. I just find it a bit, you know, let's just clone him and we'll bring him back. It doesn't really make a really good story. Whereas if you can bring him back through other means, I think those are the paths to go down. Now, one of the strongest paths which I've seen is kind of Ferrus comes back in some kind of ghost / demonic but good form, if that makes sense, because in the book Master of Mankind, this may be spoiler related, by the way, if you haven't read it, so excuse me for this. There's a scene where the Emperor goes into battle, and it is just absolutely godly. I'm sorry, the Emperor, you are basically a god to me. And he's going around. He's basically like an anime, like he's just like teleporting around, smashing things in the face. And at this one stage, he summons like an army of ghosts to fight by his side to help him, turn back the tide of the demons. And in these ghosts are like all like the betrayed people like Estevan and everything like that, like their psychic kind of essence, let's say. And among them, it's heavily hinted that Ferrus is there as well. So Ferrus is at his father's side in like a psychic kind of way, fighting in the webway, purging all these demons. So technically, you could probably say that the soul of Ferrus Manus is still fighting in some kind of way against chaos or against whatever he's ascended or gone to after his death. He probably could come back in that kind of form. Another thing attached to this is that maybe he could come back like the Legion of the Damned. We all know what the Legion of the Damned are, these fiery warriors that just appear and disappear in a time of need and stuff like that. It's heavily hinted that they are like demonic entities of the Emperor, much like Celestine and stuff like that, which has been hinted at in the past, but in a good way, fighting for the Emperor and all that kind of stuff. Maybe Ferrus could come back in that kind of format, not probably as a Legion of the Damned like leader, like some people have said, but in that kind of way where he turns up, he fights, and then he disappears once the fighting has finished and there's no need for intervention on his behalf to save the Imperium. I can kind of get on board with that theory. I think it'd be fun from a narrative point. Like, what if he turned up and there was Iron Hands there? Maybe he was intervening on how would they react to see like Ghost Daddy come appear out like some clouds and like, hello brothers, I have returned to save you. How would that go down? How would he actually look when he come out with just no head and he's just a body and stuff like that? I'm not sure which route they go down. He's probably going to come back with a head. I'm just joking around, but yeah, it's I'm just not too sure. I'm just really not too sure if it would make sense in the broader way the narrative is going in the 8th edition now, because there's so much potential for bringing Primarchs that have actually disappeared, like Korax, Jagatai Khan and stuff like that. I think it would be cool. It would be cool to like Ferrus come out like a psychic kind of form and start smashing things. But for me personally, as like a Dawn fanboy, as an Imperium fanboy, I'd rather has a physical form of a Primarch come back rather than a psychic form of a Primarch return. Because when you read it from like a narrative standpoint, he's not really involved in the story. Of course he's involved in the story because he's got to come back and he's got to smash people in the face and stuff like that. But from a narrative standpoint, when he's getting involved in the story, he's leading men and all that kind of stuff. He's not really involved in that political kind of, situation, which for me is some of the best bits about 40k, like when the Primarchs start getting involved in certain things and they start bickering with like certain parties and certain members and they start debating and all that kind of stuff. You wouldn't really have that if Ferrus came back in his psychic form, because he's just there, he's got to swing whatever, he's got to punch someone in the face, and then he's just got to vanish, like, see you in a bit, done it, bye-bye. And that could probably end up being kind of boring. So that leaves us with the option of what we just said before, which is cloning, and it's just too cheap. It's been done now with a Primarch before. It's been done with how many Primarchs? Horus has been cloned. He's been brought back. Fulgrim has been cloned now. He's been brought back. Fulgrim's actually, in stasis now during the 8th edition. He's fully nice, pristine, proper loyalist Fulgrim is back, if you didn't watch the Fulgrim video. So I just think then cloning Ferrus Manus could be kind of just cheap as well. It's like, stop cloning people. Stop it. Can we please stop cloning people? It makes absolutely no sense. If he did come back, clone or psychic, I think one of the interesting things would be the reaction of how it would look on someone. Say, right, Rebuti's back. We all know Rebuti's back. He is a glorious leader of men. He's basically the de facto emperor as of now. How would he react to seeing Ghost Ferrus? Because Gilliman actually held Ferrus in very, very high regard. He actually really respected him and his ethic of battle and stuff like that. So I wonder if that kind of story could affect him emotionally like, oh my god, Ferrus is still alive. He's still fighting in the Emperor's name. This is really, really cool. If he came back in physical format via clone, I think he would absolutely embrace him and love him and, you know, all that kind of stuff. I keep saying it. It's just a bit cheap for them to do that. It's just a quick way of bringing someone back. But for me personally, this is my general opinion. Ferrus died. He got beheaded. Yep, you can argue that his his psychic essence, his form, whatever, is still alive, purging whatever. But for me, I hope he stays dead, and I hope he doesn't return, because the emotional story to his death is really better than actually bringing him back. I know that's probably a first for this series, actually wanting a Primarch to stay dead rather than bringing him back. Who would have thought? Alright chaps, that is me done for another video. I hope you've enjoyed this one. We're actually near the end now. I think I've only got Conrad Curse to do, and then that's it, because Mortarion is already returned. Rebooted Gilliman's already returned. Magnus is already returned. I could probably maybe try and do one about the Lost Primarchs, but there's not really that much information to go off. It's just going to be even wilder fan theories than this one. So, yeah, I think I've more or less just got one more video to do, and then we're done with this absolutely glorious series. It's been emotional. It's been long. It has been a fun series to do one of these every week. I have really enjoyed it because I'm absolutely mad for Primarchs. But, yeah, it'll be sad to see this one go. Right. Thank you for watching the video once again. Make sure you post your theories and stuff below if you have any better theories than mine, or you know what I've discussed. Do you hate the thought of Ferrus coming back as physical or like psychic, in a psychic way? Let me know. Again, thank you for watching, and I shall see you all very, very soon. See you now, and bye bye.